Welcome to the Blackburn End Podcast. Now we can start the season, recording straight after the Hull game. You have a couple of fans here that are eager to discuss Rovers. This one's going to be a little less podcast, a little bit more match reaction. But as you can see, we've got Mark with us today. He looks like he's been sunning himself beautifully. Mark, you look like a bronzed Adonis right now.
Don't think bronzed or Adonis is the word. Just literally jumped out the pool and sat down to record. It's the commitment that we all crave, really, isn't it?
I'll tell you what, jumping out the pool and then recording a podcast. What a life.
Tell me about it. I'll be back down to earth with a bump next week, don't you worry.
Well, we're going to do it a little bit differently. We are recording on Saturday, not long after the game finished. Because of holidays, traveling, stuff like that, like we said earlier a couple of weeks ago, is our timings might not be the same going forward, but we will be back to normal as of a week Monday. But we're here to talk Rovers, and what a day to talk about Rovers. We're going to win 3-0 away at Hull. It's a funny old game. First off, Mark, when we're discussing Rovers, we normally trying to pick little things positive here or there. I'm really struggling after this to find anything negative to talk about.
Yeah, it was bizarre, wasn't it? You're almost waiting for the fall, the dip, come on, we need to get a second one in the first half. That little spell in the first half, possibly. The fact that they managed to have wasn't three efforts, was it? One of them was Ribeiro, but Toth was forced to into action 3 times, and their keeper hadn't been, despite our pressure, was the only thing I thought, oh, come on, don't be toothless up front. And the fact we probably should have had 6 other than that. It was a pretty faultless 90-minute performance, which is something I can very, very rarely say, I think.
I'll tell you what, do you know what's not faultless is you. I've just realised you've actually taken your proper microphone with you on holiday with your microphone cover and everything. That is absolute dedication to the cause. Look at that.
Do you know what, mate? If I don't, I remember once we recorded it on the AirPods and all we got was pelters in the comments about how tinny and whatever I sounded. So I was like, no, I'm not having it. That will go in. I only took a hand luggage bag as well. Just one little bag. Ryanair fits in the little thing. No messing. What do you need? A couple of Rovers tops, 2 swim shorts. Job done.
So, well, that is dedication to the cause, and we all appreciate it. So let's get into the game anyway. So the lineup didn't change. Obviously, no Travis. He's going to be on his way. We'll talk about Travis shortly.
Yep.
There was a lot of comments about no Harry Leonard, no Buckley, and no Ainsley Pears. Have you got any thoughts on those players not playing?
I think it's quite simple. Pears and Buckley are on the way, aren't they? I think Travis, they had a game last night. We've managed to announce Baradji. We won't be bringing him in as the last ESC slot. If it wasn't for Travis going out the door, I don't think that would have been a winger. So Travis will be announced, I would imagine, later today, maybe Monday, given the fact it's Saturday as we're recording this. Harry Leonard, very, very disappointed. I think he's the one player in our squad that plays similar to Ohashi, potentially even more direct. Fits in with a high press, always looks to get an opportunity. I think he's got a goal in him. I think if you're looking at data-wise, I would imagine his data's pretty good at the moment. I think 2 years ago, he started the season under Thomason. Now he can't even get a sniff. Rumours are he's been told he's not going to get a sniff in the first team all season. He needs to go on loan. I understand that if it's about him, how robust he is, because he's not been robust for 18 months now, has he? But I would have had him in and around the squad in the meantime. It would seem, though, that Ismaël is a manager who wants the squad that he's going to move forward with, doesn't want Buckley around even just to fill a bench slot if he's not going to be there. He seems to kind of go, no, that's going to be my match day squad, if you like, my match day 19-20. You're not in it, done. But I'd like Leonard to be a loan with a view to him coming back in the first team. I hope it's not that he's being discarded. The other one I think that we need to mention is Leo Duru going out on loan. Fine with him going out on loan. Very disappointed that it's a loan with a view to buying. I think when you're talking about bringing people through, you're talking about one of your own. I've been really impressed with him. I mean, they see a lot more of him, and Elebiosu will go on to talk about him today. Young lad, and he's looking really good. So I understand it in some sense. It's just disappointing, isn't it, when one of your own is moving on. We know he plays for America under 21s, I think under 20s maybe. So going to the MLS isn't a massive surprise in that sense, but just disappointed it's got that permanent element for me. But yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit more to that move than meets the eye. It could be there could be a lot to it. It's definitely something we'll break down when we do the bumper pod when the window closes, and he's definitely someone we want to discuss. Cantwell being named captain, that's now official. There's a lot of people that seem to be quite happy about this. There's some people saying that they're not. I'm along the lines of, wearing the captain's armband can do a few things. It's either going to be a burden or it's going to raise your game. Now, obviously, after 2 great performances from him, it seems to have raised his game, but that's now a permanent thing. Where are you standing on Cantwell being captain?
It's a bit of a new era, isn't it? I think once upon a time you had the centre half who had blood coming from his head and a bandage, or a centre midfielder who was similar sort of mould. You think back England captains, don't you? Tony Adams, Paul Ince, and then David Beckham brought the mould with that. And I remember the Greece game, and I think having the captaincy had something to do with that. First 2 games I've seen Cantwell as captain. If he carries on like this, he can have the captaincy all day long for me.
Yeah, and moving into the game now of how we started, we actually did start this frantic but quite bright start from Rovers, and Cantwell was one of the ones that seemed to be dictating that with Tavares as well. It seemed to be that they was enjoying this space because Hull seemed to really step back and give us the space to kind of do what we wanted, and they were really enjoying it. And I thought we caused quite a few problems, and Cantwell was one of the ones that seemed to be demanding more of everyone around him. He was looking at players. He was, you know, if the pass kind of was slightly off, he was looking at them as if to say, "Come on, you're better than this." And I love that. And they should have had 2 or 3 yellows really quick for drag backs on him. And it seemed to really raise him having that armband. And it's like he just enjoyed that responsibility, but also the fact that Hull gave him so much space.
Yeah, I think his touch was on point. His concentration was on point. Sometimes you see him drift in and out of games. There was probably a 10-minute spell where he was quiet towards the end of the first half. But other than that, I thought he was really focused. Exactly what you're saying, bringing the best out of others, but he certainly brought the best out of him, didn't he? He was wanting the ball, demanding the ball. I thought he was getting close to Hedges and linking up really, really well with him. But he was at the centre of absolutely everything. I thought he was absolutely outstanding. If I could give somebody a 12 out of 10 match rating, it would be him today. I thought he was outstanding. That was the Todd Cantwell I almost dreamed of when he arrived. I thought, he's not going to be that. He was that today. What the challenge has to be for him is he's got his numbers up so far this season. He's involved in the key moments. He dictated play today. Can he keep that up? That's got to be the challenge set down to him.
Yeah, and like I said, it felt like Hull was playing into his hands a little bit by giving him space. It seemed like they was allowing him to get the ball, take that touch, and then they were getting onto him. But he's got that talent to be able to just take that little touch, get into his space, and then they were dragging him back. I mean, Lundstrom, I think, was the one that seems to be more Hull KR than Hull FC. He was proper getting frustrated. He should have had a couple of yellows. Yeah. I mean, the ref, we'll get on to the ref. I mean, he had a pretty awful game. I mean, I said that he should have his own heat map. He touched the ball that often, but we just kept plugging away. But Hull had their opportunities, and one person that definitely needs a mention is Toth in goal. He was solid. He enjoyed the ball at his feet. You could tell his starting position was very confident. He liked the ball being played back to him, but he made some really good saves. And I think there was 3 in very short space of time. And I'm not going to compare him to old goalkeepers because that's history now. But it's nice to see a goalkeeper now seem to be rising in confidence, raising his confidence levels. And yes, there was a couple of saves that were a little bit continental. Seemed to be a little bit more camera safe, but he made them. The ball was out of danger, and he made a very, very solid start to the game, which really helped. Do you think that the fan base now should be quite happy that we seem to have this solid goalkeeper at the back?
Absolutely, I think they should be. I think there's no chat about it, is there? There's no debate. Should we get Pairs? Should we get another keeper? He's just calmed the whole situation down, and I've said that numerous times. That's what I want from a keeper. Glad you said the camera save thing, because I thought that, but obviously you're much more qualified to make that decision. I did think he got good distance on them, though, even though. So that kind of maybe gives him an excuse why he was making more of them. But yeah, do you know what? I enjoyed it. Fine, carry on.
It's this continental thing, because there was a header that was back in the day, a goalkeeper's probably just making a little step and trying to catch it. Now, going into real depths of goalkeeping now, I think that what's changed, and this sounds like an excuse for goalkeepers, it's not supposed to be, but the ball isn't quite as grippy as it was. And if you've got new gloves, bear with me here. If you've got a new ball and new gloves, they're not actually that grippy. So I used to have people take the piss out of me, because I used to say if there was a new ball, it's like, oh, there's too much lacquer on this. Like, because when they're really shiny and when they're wet, that you can't actually grab onto them that well. So when it's that close, I think goalkeepers now just don't trust the gloves and the ball as much, and that's why they get rid. So I'm going to give them a little bit of leeway on that one.
Sounds a bit like goalkeepers making excuses.
It's goalkeeper union.
Do you not put Vaseline and stuff on your gloves? Is that not what you do these days? And
I've never tried the Vaseline thing. I've heard that it works. I've tried glove glue. Glove glue does work, but it ruins your gloves. So you use it for about. It's like a real. I'm not sure you're allowed to use them in a professional game, but it's like a sticky solution you could put on your hands. There's a lot of innuendos we could talk about.
I think we need to move on. Yeah.
So we will move on. Okay, so Toth makes a save on about the 18th minute. We go up the other end, and my boy Ryan Hedges, someone that we've fallen away from out of love a little bit. He's taken a lot of pelters. Proper raised his game today, and he just raised the ball over the keeper. Lovely for a finish, and it was a great goal. I felt like it was coming. I know that they'd had their spell, but I just felt like we had a bit more quality at this time. But it was a lovely finish.
Class, wasn't it? I mean, we've seen that go wrong away at Preston, but it was. We've seen him do that before as well. He's got that in his locker, absolutely. I think Hedges last week looked pretty solid. He did a job for the team, and I've said before, no issues with Hedges playing when you've got somebody like Cogbo on the other wing. I think that's fine. But what he did today, Cantwell was very close to him. He got in behind. He looked to make that run in behind. It was a good job as well, because Ohashi wasn't doing that enough for me. But he was running beyond, and that's what we're desperately short of. And when we know when he gets in that position, he can finish, albeit there was one in the second half that I think it was harder to miss. But I like the fact he was willing to get on the ball, he was willing to take people on, he was willing to take risks and put himself in a situation where he was one-on-one with the keeper. But he's got that bit of quality. I like him. I just think you can't have him and Dinev. I think if you have him and you have Cardboard, that's fine. He just needs to do more of it, which is a common theme.
Yeah, and he played extremely well today. There is still elements of that frustrations, like you say. He ends up missing that near enough open goal. He did do quite well with a header. He's not known for his heading. Probably should have done a little bit better considering his height. There was a few little passes that kind of went awry, and you do see the frustration that fans have with Ryan Hedges. But then he goes and scores a goal like this, and then you're like, well, that's why he's in the team, because he was on the left wing. Cogbo was on the right wing. Yeah, I got there. Yeah, there we go. So he was on the right wing. Now, I think that goal came from the fact that he was cutting inside and he could he could run in. Now, if you've got a left footer there, they're probably not taking that shot on. So it was a lovely finish, and it all came from just soaking up a little bit at the back, Toth being solid, and then it was a great counter attack. But what I really enjoyed was we didn't just settle. Like, we didn't just say, right, we've got a goal, let's set back and see. It seemed like we went straight back into it. The ref was doing the ref things. Cantwell was being abused, got a stud in his hip. Ohashi was getting absolutely battered. There was things happening that I wasn't too happy about, but we just seemed to keep plugging away. We still wanted the ball. Tavares was getting his space. Cantwell was getting his space. And what I liked in that final four was they all seemed to be playing their own little free roles and swapping around. So I'd see Ohashi come across and Hedges would take his position, then Cantwell would go and take where Hedges was. And it was like they was playing a free role. And I want to get onto Ohashi in a bit, but I was getting a little bit frustrated that Ohashi was being dragged out. But it did seem to work.
It did. I mean, none more so than when Cardboard played the ball through to Hedges for the goal. And that was a lovely weighted pass. It was threaded through a tight area. It did work. I just have concerns about it because I think it's whether it's direction from the manager or it's whether it's the interchanging. I've no issues with. I think that works really well. My issue comes when you've got Ohashi so deep at times. I think he's too honest. Is the problem. I think there's probably an element of direction from the manager. I think he holds the ball up really well. He's strengthened. He's doing that really well this season. But for me, in pre-season, when he was at his most effective, he was on the shoulder. He wasn't involved as much in the build-up, and he was staying within the width of the box and looking beyond. I think today it's worked really, really well because you've had Hedges running beyond, you've had Cantwell purring at the edge of the box, Cardboard running beyond, Alabiosu getting beyond, Tavares getting beyond. When that happens, that's absolutely fine. It will work. When they're not doing that, you need that number 9 to be doing it. So if everyone else is running in beyond, fine. He needs to recognise, though, if they're not, either they need to start doing or he stays more central and gives us that threat in behind. When it worked like it did today, it worked really, really well, though.
It did. I was getting frustrated because I like my number 9 to be a number 9 and just be buzzing around the box. And you could tell at times the other guys in that formation, they were getting the ball, they were looking up and he wasn't there because he'd been pulled out, because he was dragging out wide to go and get the ball. When we did get it back, they looked up and then there's no one in that position. And we've been talking about the decision making in the final third, but a decision's only based on the options that you're given. And if you look up and you haven't got that option in the middle of the area, your head's got to go straight back down because you haven't got long to scan and go through. In American football, they call it your reads. So you go through. So a quarterback will look at his options and he'll go through his reads. So he'll be like, right, I know read 1 is going to be my first option. If that's not available, I'll look at read 2, 3, and 4. The way that football works, because it's a lot more chaos involved, you can't do that. So I found that when you've got those 3 players supporting Ohashi, looking up, when he wasn't there, they haven't really got the time to then scan elsewhere and pick another option. So I can see why it's not necessarily working in that final third sometimes. And I know we've just won 3-0, so this isn't a negative. But it's just sometimes it's going to work and sometimes it isn't. So I could see when you've got quite a disciplined team on the press, like a Blues and a West Brom, who we've just played, it's not going to work. But Hull gave us far too much space, so it could work. So there was times where our centre mids, I mean, Tronstad had a great game as well. Let's not forget about him. But Tronstad, Tavares and Cantwell, they had the chance to make these reads and be like, okay, Hashi's not there. I'm just going to turn. I'm going to recycle the ball. And it worked. But I don't think that's necessarily going to work going forward.
No, I think if people go and look at the goal, it was a great finish by Hedges, but he had no choice but to have an effort. Now, you probably should shoot from where he was anyway. But if you just watch the goal back from 2 or 3 angles, just watch Ohashi. Drops deep for the ball. The ball's then not going to be available to him. He should have been providing an option for Hedges to, if he wanted to square the ball, and he doesn't. And that's what I'm talking about. His instinct is not 6-yard box all the time. And I just wish it was. If you just watch him for that goal, I think it's a real good example of what I'm talking about. But then at times he does get across his front man. It's not a Sam Gallagher situation where he never does it, as evidenced by the fact he scored with his stomach, doesn't he, in the second half? I'd just like to see him doing more of that, I think.
Yeah, and like I said, I was really positive about Ohashi today. There was just a few little moments I saw. It's like with Gargbo when he was through. I think he was tripped, but managed to get up and he went through. And he's got so much space, but he just didn't seem to commit to the move. And I'm not sure whether he was just put off by this little trip, but he kind of went nowhere.
Yeah,
but then he goes a couple of minutes later and he gets a nice little toe poke wide. But you're thinking, could he have just taken a little bit more of a half step to then try the outside of the foot? But it was working, and we get to half time, and I'm really impressed with how we've played. Oh, there was another moment as well where they had a wall and Toth was straight. So they had a free kick and Toth came straight out to make the wall, put Gargbo on his belly and said, right, you're down there, really controlled it. I really loved that moment. And Lundstrom finally did get his yellow card, but I'll get into that in a minute. But I was really chuffed with the first half. I thought it was really solid. I thought we enjoyed the space. I thought the ref wasn't great, but we didn't seem to be getting frustrated. But what I really liked was we just kept going. We was like when you played and everyone was like, it's 0-0, play like it's 0-0. It very much felt like that. Is that the vibe you got from the first half?
Yeah, I thought the first 20, 25 minutes we controlled it. They came into it a little bit, but only for 5 minutes or so. And then we took control again. I thought you worry sometimes, don't you? You're naturally going to sit back a bit subconsciously. You're thinking, let's just not take any risks. But I thought from start to finish in the game, really, I thought Toth was really solid. I thought Alebiosu's pace and power we know about, and it's really effective going forward, but it helps him when he needs to recover. But I actually thought his touch was a lot better today. I think West Brom maybe was just settling in. I thought Tronstad was back to normal today. He was buzzing around, intercepting, neat little passes. Tavares looked better again. Again, it probably is a fitness thing you're starting to think now. So this is when you start to become more positive because you're looking at Alebiosu and thinking 3 games in, he's getting better and better. So's Tavares. Hedges was just class, wasn't he? Cantwell was unbelievable. Cardboard did all right. And Ohashi. But I thought that back 4 or 5, if you include Toth, looked really solid. I think just looking forward, what I would like to see a little bit more is one of Tavares or Tronstad just being a bit more disciplined. So when the camera's panning towards our attacks, and then it starts to move and you see them on the counter, I think one of them just needs to be deeper. They're both caught in front of the ball a little bit and they're out the game. Alebiosu's fine doing that because he's got the pace to get back. Them two don't. So I think they just need to be mindful of that a little bit because we're pressing very high and we're committing. But in terms of positives, I just thought they were outstanding, to be honest, from start to finish. And that's something I've not really seen.
Well, I'm glad you've said that about the first half because the unsung heroes were Hyam and McLaughlin because there's a lot of trust. If you're going to play like we do, there's a lot of trust on them two to hold up the play when the counter-attack's on. So when Hull were coming through, to allow the wing-backs to get back into position, Hyam and McLaughlin worked really well to hold up that play. And they seem to have really struck off a nice partnership here.
They do.
And I thought the way that they worked, it's like, all right, I'm not going to dive in. All I'm going to do, I'm going to put you out wide because there's no danger there. I'm going to keep you there just for a split second because I know that I've got the likes of Alebiosu coming back. Like you say, on the other side, it's a little bit different. But Ribeiro's not a slouch. He's not like he's the slowest player.
No.
And he's an intelligent player as well. Yeah, and he starts deeper.
Yeah, I think the other thing we need to talk about is the fact that they tried the option of bullying us out of the game, didn't they? They had a couple of animals in the team. They had a couple of wind-up merchants. They had just a physical presence. Some of it was bang out of order and some was just difficult play. And I thought we stood up to it. Hyam and McLaughlin absolutely stood up to it. Ribeiro, for a man who looks really calm and quiet, seems to be able to stick up for himself. And he's always at the centre of something. I mean, the game had just kicked off and McBurney was throwing him to the floor. So I don't know what he'd done there. But you look at the people like Cantwell and Carboy, you think, could they be put off the game? They weren't at all. And I just think the fact that a team has tried to bully us today and really knock us off our game when we were playing some good football, we've stood up to that, and that was impressive. And I think you're right. Hyam looks back to the Hyam that we know he can beat. But I've said all along, if you put him on that right-hand side and you put him with somebody who's not necessarily number one centre-half, but somebody I think he can rely on and he trusts and he knows where they're going to be, he can just focus on his own game. And when he focuses on his own game, that's why he's not the captain anymore. When he focuses on his own game, he's a very solid centre-half. And he's got the pace of Alabiosu alongside him to fix things if they go a bit awry. So I like the makeup of that back four. I just think with Toth as well, they've got confidence in him, and they all look comfortable in each other as well as their own skin, and it's got the makings of a really good, solid base, and that's something that we've probably not had for a while now. We've been a bit soft, and we've been a bit easy to get at.
Yeah, and this is what we've discussed over the last few months, really, is we have got bigger, we've got faster, we've got stronger. From a technical point of view, the jury's still out, but at least we have that. And I did like the fact that we were standing up to it. We wasn't easily getting pushed off. There was a couple of times where Cantwell puts himself on the floor and Hashi does, but I think that's part of their game.
Yeah.
But to come out in the first half and get these 2 goals was surprising. I'm just going to say I was surprised. The Rovers of old would come out and have this attitude of let's just keep it tight and let's see what happens. And the one thing we said at the Blues game was we actually liked the fact that when it went to 1-1, we went for it. And there was people, I'd put a comment out there, you'd put something out there as well to say, is this the winning mentality we're looking for? And everyone seemed to agree that actually, if we are going to create this new ethos at the club, which is winning games and going for it, if we can try and come out at half-time and do what we did and it's successful, obviously that's brilliant. But I just like the fact that it was like it was 0-0. It was that old classic. It's 0-0, boys. Let's go for it. It was a great start. It was a lovely free kick routine. I mean, the set pieces today worked a treat. Ohashi scores with his crotch or his belly, whatever it was. It was quite funny. Did you see when he came off, he was trying to tell everyone that would listen that it was his goal. But to have that, and then Cantwell, Alabiosu, great press, causes some issues. I think their keepers probably should have done better with the cross, but it's straight to Cantwell, who instinctively hits it. And then before you know it, we're 3-0 up. How shocked were you to see that?
2 minutes into the second half, I couldn't quite believe what was happening, because I think you as a football fan, you negatively think the game's going to change at half time. We should have got another. We should have capitalised when we're on top. They can't be that bad in the second half. They're going to come out, with a flea in their ear, and to nullify that within 90 seconds, it kills it. And that's what seems to happen to us all the time. Or it certainly feels like that's the sort of thing that happens to us. Or you're 1-0 up and, like Birmingham, the momentum shifts a little bit. And it just didn't. It was like it was just the game had never stopped. Half-time had never happened. We just started straight away again. And I thought our fitness, there's a couple of players just towards the end of the 90 that looked leggy. I think that's why he kept them on. But I thought our fitness came into play today. I thought we looked controlled. And the fact that we came out and started the second half, and it was unusual. We talked last season, didn't we? There was times where we just shut the game down at 1-0 and nothing happened for half an hour. The fact that we weren't used to that, and the fact that we've come out today and we've started the second half exactly as we finished the first, I'm not used to. So I like it, and hopefully that's a sign of things to come.
And that's exactly it. Hopefully it is a sign of things to come, because we have seen it. We've seen elements of it so far this season that we are willing to have a go. And we were saying that the issue is that decision making in the final third. And if we could sort that decision making out, the other 2 results were probably going to be better, and we would have got more of a result like we got today, because we hit the bar. We had a great counter attack. I think Cantwell went through with AK, and I think they made a last-ditch tackle.
They did really
so
good.
It wasn't, so it wasn't like we were sitting back on the 3-0. And he kept the same shape. We made some subs about the 68th minute, something like that, and they were like for like. It was making sure we kept the same shape. It was working. Now, you do have a luxury of being able to do that when you're 3-0 up, but I just like the fact that he wasn't panicking. He was like, do you know what? This is us. This is the way we play. The set pieces are working. We're getting chances. Why not go for it? And it was really interesting to see that things were working, but there was still some elements of decision making in that final third.
Yeah.
I think you said on one of your comments that it could have been 6 or 7-0.
It should have been.
And it really could have been. Yeah.
And it's not a negative. It's just looking at it. I think you got to be happy with a 3-0 win, and I think we were outstanding. However, tighter games they matter, and there's still things they need to go and work on, but they'll know that. I think why I was so positive after the game was Alabiosu's got better again. Hyam and McGough have looked as solid as they probably have done, if not more, and they've stood up to a different challenge today. Tavares didn't look outstanding by any stretch, but he got better again. Tronstad looks back to Tronstad of old, and we've questioned, can he do that without Travis? Cantwell was peacocking again. Hedges linked up really well with him. Cardboard, probably the only one that I thought I was maybe a 7 out of 10. I would have expected a bit more. Like you said, that time he got through. I think he got put off his game a little bit by some of the challenges. None of the others seemed to do. And I thought that Ohashi, I'd just like to see more central, but it worked today. That's fine. That's just me, really. I like my striker playing on the shoulder.
I mean, we got a little bit wasteful. The game was basically over at this point. I mean, I make loads of notes in my pad when I watch a game, and I could tell my notes were coming less and less because it was all much of a muchness. It was the same. We was getting opportunities. We was getting into that final third. Like you say, there was a little bit of peacocking going on as well from Cantwell. The subs come in. It was, like I say, it was like for like. I was quite happy with that because we were starting to lose a little bit of shape, and it wasn't because of a tactical decision. It was because from tiredness, and it was nice to see. Henriksen came on. He looked still like a little wasp, just buzzing around. He's a very raw player. You can see there's something there. I'm not too sure from what I've seen so far that he's going to offer a hell of a lot this year for us, but I can see that actually going forward into seasons beyond this one that he is going to offer. But what I really liked was we were still trying things. We were still trying to get into that final third. Hull had given up at this point. Their fans had had an absolute exodus out. But it's still that final third that I'm going to be concerned about with the decision making. Ohashi was through. He could have pulled it back. He's tried to toe poke one from a tight angle. He should probably hit it across the goalkeeper. Gay came on and just seemed like he was this frustrated child in a way. I really wasn't happy with his attitude because it was like they were trying to get him the ball to try and get him a goal, but he seemed to be frustrated. Like they were holding the ball to him because he was offside. And he seemed to be annoyed, but he didn't try his best to come back onside. And then when we did, he was offside, and then he still missed anyway. I don't know why he came on and was acting so petulant.
He looked frustrated, didn't he? I mean, you're right. That was with Cantwell, wasn't it? He was saying he should have played it earlier, but he was never onside. He works as a plan C. I think you referred to him as the other day. We need a plan B because if Ohashi gets a knock, we have big problems because Gay cannot replace Ohashi like for like. And I think if we're looking at positives, though, I thought Montgomery looked more settled when he came on today. I mean, he should do it 3-0, shouldn't he? But he did. But Henriksen, to be fair to him, wasn't just stuck on the right-hand side. I thought he got involved in the play. There was one element where he came across the pitch. He was involved in some link-up play with Hedges and Cantwell, I think it was, and then he played a really good ball back to Hedges, the one where Hedges should have scored. It was a good weighted pass. It was thought out. I think you're right. I think they bought him as a player to replace somebody, probably the newly appointed Cantwell captain in 12 months' time as a number 10, maybe. I think that might be what they're thinking. But I like that. Bring your replacements in the building early. Fine with it. And I thought Dinev came on and, he had 4 minutes, didn't he? But he came on and it was a light for light, so it didn't disrupt anything. yeah, I think if we're going to look at things to work on, I think it was decision making in the final third. Or Hashi, I'd like to see more central. I'd like to see Cardboard commit to things a little bit more. I think he frightens people to death when he does that. And then Gay, I know he was on the pitch 4 minutes, so he's probably frustrated because he wanted to come on earlier, and he probably should have done. But he's not exactly...
You're asking a lot of a striker to come on and get a goal, aren't you?
You are, but it's 3-0, and the least you can do is stay on side. Because even in that, he was on 4 minutes, and he had probably 8 minutes actually on the pitch, didn't he, with added time. And he must have been offside 4 times. It's just... It's basic, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt like the game rightly petered out for Hull because they were just done. The fans were leaving. We were just playing the ball around. I'm just seeing a different side of Gay. I can understand why he's frustrated because he wants to play. There's a lot of people calling saying, well, he's not getting an opportunity. Well, at the end of the day, if you're good enough, you get an opportunity. It's the same with the John Buckleys of the world. People are saying, well, where's John Buckley? How we're treating him's awful. Well, if you're good enough, you'll be on the bench or playing, So there's an element of players having to take responsibility for themselves and actually performing. And Gay's one. He could have allowed himself an extra couple of yards today and got opportunities, like you said. He could have showed some real good energy, but he seemed to be very frustrated. And I didn't expect him to come on and score. He's come on for like 5 to 10 minutes. The chances of you getting an opportunity, all I wanted to see was some positive movement, get the ball, control it, keep it safe, try and get yourself into some positions to score, and show the manager what you've got. But it seemed to be that he just was this ball of angry energy that he just wanted to run around. And I suppose it shows he's got a bit of desire, and that's fine. But at the final whistle, McBurney gets himself all in a tiz with McLaughlin. I'd love to know what was said, but I was so happy that he got reeled into whatever he did, because he was a nightmare the whole game. He was.
Yeah, he really could start a fight in an empty room, but I thought some of it was bang out of order. There was the one that second half, and it only really showed it. The shot had already been taken, and he was about knee height, thigh height. It was from a corner, if you look back at it in the second half, and it was poor. And the ref just did nothing. It was after the ball. It was high. I just think he's reckless and borders on dangerous at times. It's a shame.
Him and Lundstrom were really, really pushing it.
Lundstrom was the other one. I think Egan struggled a bit because he's not match fit, is he? And I think he was just trying to old man the situation at times and was just giving fouls away. But Lundstrom, that one on Cantwell, should have been
a bit naughty, that.
It was. Yeah. And I think
when I first saw it, I thought to myself, he should be on 2 or 3 yellows by now. And then when I saw it again, I'm like, do you know what? VAR's probably been given a red there.
Oh, I don't disagree. I think there's reckless, and then that was naughty. He was annoyed because he couldn't get near Cantwell all game, and he should have been. But I mean, I think referees so far this season have seemed really, really reluctant to even book anybody in the first half. But then once they start, it's like bloody Pringles.
It's like Clinton's, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, and he's just having a right. Once he starts, it pops. He can't stop. But he was just handing them out, and it was obvious that Tavares was going to get one for that because he hadn't given them any bookings, I don't think, at that point. So what did impress me was
I'm okay with the Tavares one getting a yellow, but there should have been loads for them.
But at least he remembered to book Lundstrom after 2 or 3 minutes, because I did think, is he going to remember that? But yeah, I think, I mean, it was ironic, wasn't it? It was their fans that were having a pop saying he's not fit to referee, when they're lucky they had 10 men on the pitch after half an hour. So
yeah. And the game finishes after that. For me, my quick match review would be, obviously, I put out saying don't underestimate the value of Toth in that in that result, making some key saves at key times. But what I loved was every single player on that pitch did something to affect the result.
Yeah.
And they can come off extremely proud of themselves for getting that result, because it was an absolute gut punch in the last game. It was embarrassing in the cup game, and the first game, okay, they're getting used to being together and stuff like that, but it wasn't the greatest of performances. So to have those 3 games before, that body of work, and to go and do what we did today, and like I said, I think Hull played into our hands a little bit.
Yeah.
But you can only play what's in front of you. But every single player on that pitch did something which I could point at and say, you affected the result. And that's what I really like about it.
Yeah, I think I like the fact that we weren't bullied and we weren't put off a game. I think I had questions going into this game. There's lots of things going on off the pitch. Are the players focused? Do they believe in what's happening? If you if you read everything and believe everything that you see on social media, the place is in turmoil and it's falling to bits. And what I saw was a team fully committed to what was the plan was to win the game as well. So that was really pleasing. I saw Tronstad and Hyam, who there's been question marks about whether they'll be staying, look as good as they've ever looked. We've questioned, can Tronstad do it without Travis? We've questioned Alibiosu's touch early on it. He's looked better. We've questioned, can Cardboard do it from the start? He had an impact, albeit I think there's more to come. And I just think they answered pretty much every question that I had of them before the game with flying colours. The next challenge for them is do that again. It's not going to happen 3-0, but I want to see exactly what I saw today again. And the result might not come. It might be a draw. It might be, but they've set the bar now, and they need to get near to that.
And we're going to go and play Norwich. It's obviously a home game. So if you're putting a performance like that at home, I think the fans are really going to be behind you, because it was fun to watch as well. It wasn't just a boring game. We had opportunities. We had the ball. We was trying to probe. Was trying to get these opportunities. Norwich, who time of recording, they're losing 2-0 to Middlesbrough. They're going to be on 3 points, the same as us. I think they beat Portsmouth, didn't they, in the last game?
1-1, lost one.
Yeah, so as far as I'm concerned, it's extremely important we follow this up with another performance similar to it.
Yeah, I think when Ismaël came in, we talked at the time about everything he was talking about, everything about his style of football, front foot, high press, wanting to score goals, loads of energy, getting stuck in. That's the football everybody wants to watch. The question last year was just, was it too different to what we were used to and what was working at the time? No issues with this style of football. And today we saw it at its very best. If you get that more often than you don't, happy days for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really impressed with today. I can't even pick a man of the match, because I think there's so many players we can point at. Hedges obviously was very effectual, but there was times he was a little bit annoying. But I thought Toth was extremely solid. I'd love to say that partnership at centre back was extremely solid.
Yeah.
The wing backs did their thing. Ohashi did his thing. I can't pick a man of the match, and I love it when it's like that, because it just shows that football's a team game and they came together. And if we can go into next week with a similar kind, because there's no midweek game, so they now have an opportunity to rest up, get on the training ground and sort themselves out. I think there's a real good opportunity to build on this. And what I'm hoping for is that we can have 2 or 3 games now where we forget about the first 2 of the season, because the first 2 league games of the season, along with the cup game, made the fan base extremely toxic on social media. And I know X can be a pretty toxic place at the best of times, but it was getting a bit rough. And it's nice to have a performance like this. We just need to follow it up now.
Yeah, I think today it was important. The performance probably came secondary to the result, but if we'd have had a poor performance and just bumbled over the line, you'd have been, oh, did we deserve it? We were starting to get to the point where concerns were becoming a bit deep-rooted, weren't they, of the fan base, because of everything. So the fact that we've managed to get everything you could have wanted out of that game, performances, question answers, goals, clean sheet, a win away, it couldn't really have gone any better. And I think if they follow it up with a similar performance now, even if it's only a draw, I'd like a win, obviously, against Norwich, fully committed, high energy. That could be the kickstart we need. And to be fair to Ismaël, he talked before the game, so it's not like he said this after, and he'd said, this is the first time we've had a full week of training that's not been disrupted since Spain. So maybe that's what the difference was. Who knows? Hopefully, because then we'll see it again. So, yeah, we know midweek game again. Rest up, 90 minutes in some of those legs. Hopefully no injuries. Lots of confidence. It could be the kickstart we need. It has to be, really.
Oh, it definitely has to be. I don't want it to be a flash in the pan. How I felt at that final whistle, I want to feel that again. I like the fact that I wasn't stressing as much as you love those last minute wins and stuff. And it's great to have that immediate high. The fact that we controlled that game, the fact that it was a team performance, the fact that we could finish that game and on the 50th, 60th minute on there, just enjoying watching Rovers. I want that a few more times. Yes, okay. I want that high of a last minute winner now and again. But it was nice to have that. And it's going to be interesting to see what he does with this starting lineup for Norwich, because having that week off, normally you would expect some sort of rotation at some point. And obviously he hasn't rotated between the last two games. Can you see any kind of rotation? Obviously, Travis is going to be on his way out. Baradji's come in. He's not going to be ready based on everything we're hearing there. So can you see any kind of rotation?
I don't think there's any need. I think you go again, don't you? I think they've earned the right to do that. I mean, I'm now feeling, after watching that, can't wait to go to the next game. I was a bit apprehensive before today. And the players will be the same. They'll be desperate to get into training Monday. They'll be desperate to get back out on the pitch on Saturday. Let's keep that good feeling going.
And one person that won't be there will be Lewis Travis. He's still a Rovers player as of recording, but he will be a Derby player by then. There's a split opinion in the fans polls that we've put out. There's a lot of people talking about how he is going to be missed as a footballer. He's going to be missed as a leader on the pitch, missed as a leader off the pitch. I think that the way that we're playing, he's not going to be missed as a footballer at all. He was someone I've always been frustrated with as a footballer. He had a good season last year, and I was one of the ones saying I would want him to sign up because I think he was important on the pitch because that's how we were playing. But now seeing how we're trying to play now, I can understand why he's not needed as a footballer anymore. And there's now people coming out saying, well, he's a bad egg in the changing room and he's someone that they want to get rid of because he's creating toxic atmosphere. We don't know. It's all hearsay. I don't like to call it one way or the other. All I know is that when I see us play how we've played the last couple of games, as much as I think we needed him as a leader on the pitch last week, I think from seeing what Tronstad did today and Tavares was showing glimpses of, if they can carry on that partnership, he's not going to be missed on the pitch as a footballer at all. Where are you at now with this Travis situation?
I feel that they were never going to keep him beyond next season, even if he'd have had a new deal. I don't think they see him in their long-term squad planner, if you like. And I think he knew that. I think they've probably two more on that pitch today that aren't in their squad planner, if not three. But I worry that midweek games, 3 games in a week, are we robust enough for the Championship? Do we know enough about it? I think we're going to miss that element, and I think we should go and get somebody like a McLaughlin for the midfield. I know we've got Adam Forshaw, but I think he was described as being made of Weetabix previously, wasn't he? And he's not been fit this season. We didn't see that last season. But if he can be that person, fine. That's my concern. I think I watched Tavares today, and there's certain things with the football that he can do that Lewis Travis can't do. It takes him 2 or 3 times to get it out of his feet. But there was times when he dragged us through kicking and screaming at West Brom, for example. That's what we will miss. Do I think he's a bad egg in the changing rooms? Obviously, I have no idea, but I haven't seen on the pitch players against him at all. All I've seen is somebody really fully committed. I think the club's going in a different direction, and that wasn't with him. And I can't imagine he's a great sub. I think he needs to be playing. He needs to be centre of things. He needs to feel really important. And I think it's, for whatever reason, whether you agree with it or not, that was never going to work if he wasn't going to play that role. And yeah, so I think we've got the fee that they wanted. He had a year left on his deal. Will it be reinvested? Well, it needs to be, doesn't it? But yeah, we move on now.
Yeah, I mean, there was potential of a split changing room. It's quite funny because you see some of the players that had left, they're all kind of friends with Travis, and obviously they've gone and he might be upset about that. Whatever the reasons, I think it's a kind of, he needs to move on for his sake, the club's sake. If we get some money, that's great. We draw a line under it and we carry on. As much as I would love a leader, and I would love it to be a player like Travis that's come through the ranks and been with us for so long. If it's not to be, it's not to be. I'm not going to sit here and cry myself to sleep about it, because at the end of the day, if a player doesn't want to be here anymore, he doesn't have to be here. And I think Travis did want to be here to an extent, but I think because of the people he didn't want here, they're always going to stay. So that is your owners and so on. They're not going to go. So something needs to give, or else it creates that toxic environment. And he was the one that lost out there. So as much as I don't like it happening, I want my club to be all sunshine and rainbows all the time. This happens, and hopefully today will help the fan base, take the edge off with the fan base. Moving on from the Travis situation, we have got this Baradji signed. It's a 1-year deal loan, but with the option to buy. We did a lot of Googling. We did a lot of YouTubing. He looks a very exciting player. Are we actually going to see him anytime soon?
Sounds like he's going to have an operation, doesn't it? And I think Elliot Jackson had put something out there that it's a couple of weeks, maybe. They're hoping that's all it will be. Then he's going to need training. Then he's going to need whatever. That's why they're protecting themselves with the loan, isn't it? They've been quite vocal. They don't want to make loans just for having a loan. They're just protecting themselves that he comes back from the injury okay and he's not going to break down again. Fine. Great move. I think we should protect ourselves. He looks, those who have YouTubed him, it looks a big old unit. Looks like he's mobile. He gets around the pitch, won't be bullied. Something we're missing a little bit. I suspect they probably are planning on a midfield three of him, Tavares and Henriksen next season. So let's see when they all get on the pitch. Let's see how it works. Do I think all three are going to be ready for it right now? No. And I think that's why they would have ideally liked to have kept Travis, wouldn't they? But yeah, I don't think we'll see him on the pitch anytime soon. I think the club, obviously they've got to big him up, but it did make me chuckle on their announcement where they said he made his name, I think they said, or something, words to that effect. And then they proceeded to put a football club out that I'd never heard of. So, yeah, he's going to make his name with Blackburn Rovers. That's what he's going to do. And it's an easy one to pronounce, Mike. For those doubters, Moussa Baradji, we can all do that. Whether it's Baradji or not, it is when you're from Lancashire. I don't know how you're going to say it, Mike, but everyone's eagerly waiting it.
Well, I've been saying Baradji, but there's some people saying Baradji. But I feel like Baradji sounds like something I'd order at a restaurant.
Yeah, it's too posh.
So I'm going to go with Baradji. Until anyone says otherwise. Obviously, another player that I probably would struggle to pronounce, Mafumbi. He's on his way. There's a lot of people here saying that it's unfair on him. The club have not treated him right. I'm still of the opinion that you make your own future as a footballer. Now, there is an element of being unlucky with injuries like Gilson and players like that. Yep. But if he was good enough, they wouldn't have let him go. It was a risky signing, and all our signings are risky. This was one that was just as risky as others, and it's not pulled off. It's a shame for the lad. I wish it worked out for him. But if he was good enough, we would have stayed. And we obviously thought he was good enough because we gave him one of these slots, and these slots are valuable. They're especially valuable to a club like us that's going to be making these risky signings from abroad. So I feel sorry for the lad. It's not worked out, but at the end of the day, if he's not good enough, and we're now going to take a risk on this new lad, I think you've got to make that. You've got to take that as as something that's just going to happen in football now.
Yeah, I think there was rumours, wasn't there, that you could also have started him or played him. So they would have done that if that was an option and they thought that he was potentially going to make it. That would have been more unfair to him, wouldn't it? To just put him on the pitch for 30 seconds and then stick him back in the reserves if there's no intention really of getting him through. He had a loan and then he had a bad injury, didn't he? It's football. I think what is interesting is he's found a club very quickly, hasn't he? I think there's a little bit of looking on Transfermarkt seems to suggest he may have, I think it's the same agent as Baradji, and the agent has a couple of other people at that club, and there's bits and bobs like that. But the club will have been involved in finding him that new club as well. It's people look for the negatives all the time. Is it worse to waste somebody's career for 2 years if you've actually no intention of getting them in the first team? We didn't make we didn't decide on Brexit. Well, as a country we did, but Blackburn Rovers didn't, and they are the rules. So you've got to make the most of them. And I don't want somebody who's in our 21s impacting our first team right now when we need somebody to come in and make an impact. Top and bottom of it.
And there's certain players I want to work out. Leonard's obviously one. Mm-hmm. I really want the players like him to work out because I think there's talent there. But with a lot of these players that we are signing and we're letting go, like a John Buckley as well, you think to yourself, you've got opportunities. You've got opportunities on the training ground. You've got opportunities in your loans that you go out to in these under 23s or whatever it is now, reserve games. You have the opportunity to put out there what you can do as a footballer, as a professional. You have these opportunities. Now, a club is not going to let someone go who's scoring goals or defending great or being creative or showing fantastic athletic levels, being technically gifted. They're not going to let them go. So I'm not going to, when a player goes like this, I'm not going to be too upset. When Gilson went, it was a shame, but
yeah, it was.
This is what happens in football, and it is a shame. But let's talk about the youth levels again at Rovers. There was a certain game played today.
There was.
Do you want to tell us about that game?
Yeah, I think just finally, just to finish up on that, I think my one concern with the transfer policy at the moment is we're having very few of our own young players coming through, and I'm not talking about Mufumbe there. And I think they're talking about buying low, selling high. We've always done that as a club, and giving people a chance to impress and a platform. You never make more money than an English player coming through your academy, a striker like Harry Leonard. And I just hope we're going to give the opportunities to our own players. That's my worry with Duru. Montgomery's come on the pitch today. I just seen a lot of our, even Travis, I'm seeing a lot of our academy players disappearing. Now, if they're not good enough, fine. But I want us to give them a good chance. But yeah, there was a game today. It was our under-18s against Burnley under-18s, Mike. And for those people who don't know, it's played at 12 o'clock today. And Burnley went 2-0 up. Boo. But then in the 86th minute, Valentin Joseph, those who've seen clips of him, strapping lad he is, he'll be in the 21s before the season's out. He goes and bangs one in. And then it gets to the 96th minute, and all hell breaks loose in our goal area. Our keeper, I haven't seen it, but it was described as a ferocious fracas. Our keeper's been sent off and their striker. And then in the 97th minute, we go and get an equaliser. Now, I know you've said about 3-0 being a perfect way for a game. I bet that would have been some atmosphere if that was a first-team game.
Mate. You've got to say that doesn't matter what level it's at. These derby games, they don't disappoint.
No, they don't. I went to watch a 21s at their place. It was at their academy. And Montgomery was actually playing that day, and Harry Leonard and a few others. They had a couple of first teamers in, and it's fiery. They really, really do not want to lose to each other. Doesn't matter what level it's at. It's class, isn't it? That's what football's all about.
I love it. I love it. Well, one thing that does happen in football is losing. And I'm currently the latest result between Coventry and QPR. Have you seen it on the 76th minute? 7-0 to Coventry. I said that they were going to be they're going to be up there. Well, definitely going to be up there. But Ipswich are losing to Preston.
Yeah, I know. Preston. We tip them to go down. But obviously, Mike, the Blues are winning again, aren't they? They're rampant rate. They're rampaging to the league title. So, yeah.
No.
One more.
I don't want to.
Southampton 0, Stoke 1.
Yeah, my predictions for the league are not doing well. It's a long old season.
You can't predict the championship, though, can you? Let's be honest.
No. Well, I don't want you to look at the current Premier League scores. Just don't do that, because that will disappoint you. But Mark, carry on.
I was just going to say our predictions. Scott Wharton's. I thought that was a good one. But did you say he would be captain more times than Travis this season? Was that your prediction?
I can't remember. No, I just said he'd play more than. I think there was other people saying. Mine was that he would play more than Carter.
Carter, right? Okay, yeah. I think I might have said that in the Telegraph, but I think you're going to be right. But then my prediction of all 5 midfielders who ended last season won't be with us next season is looking scarily close to being true, isn't it?
It is. It is. We are the oracles, just not when it comes to the rest of the EFL.
Big transition season, though. Big transition.
It is. It is. Yes. But Mark, we're going to end it on the hour mark. It was a special edition podcast stroke match reaction, but I've enjoyed it because we won.
Oh, yeah. I'm having a great time. 3-0 win. Right, you go. Don't know what to do myself.
I'll tell you what. Straight after this, you can go jump in the pool and stick a video of you doing so on our socials of you enjoying yourself, mate.
Nobody needs to see a whale jumping in a pool, but I'll sink an Australia and send you a picture of that instead.
Good man. Well, cheers for joining me. Enjoy the rest of your holiday.
Thank you very much. I will do.
And everyone, make sure you're in the comments, but please make sure you subscribe as well. The subscribing is free. We don't spam you. You don't get loads of notifications all the time about us, but it really helps the channel. It grows it for us, so then we can try and get some players on, interview some ex-coaches and so on, and hopefully make some better content for you guys. But comment down below what you thought of the game. What do you think is going to happen between now and the close of the transfer window, and what are your predictions for the Norwich game? But until next time, have a great one and enjoy your week.